Hey, why are you you? In this episode, I'm speaking with Rachel, otherwise known as Carly J. Hey Hey. You have such a good way of, from what I could tell, looking at your chats, of seeing both sides, but being firmly in the progressive side.
I feel the way that I was raised was so unique. I literally could stand in a room with probably a million people and not be able to point at a single other person
Wow.
that had my upbringing or even close to it. And I think that really makes me, and I'm really fortunate to have had been able to see all of the things I saw at such a young age. Being raised by a lesbian in the 80s, she, my mom went through a lot to get me and my sister to have us, as far as kidnapping us. We were used as pawns. It was like a really terrible battle. In the end, everything worked out. We ended up with my mom in the end, but she's very liberal. She's very outgoing. She, we used to joke and call her head lesbian of Butte. If you wanted to be in the community here, you had to go through Darlene
The
first.
head lesbian of beauty. I love that. Get that woman a crown. I like that.
Exactly. And so it's weird to me when I meet somebody and they struggle with the LGBTQ plus community, because I've always had it in my life. It's never not been a part of my life. That makes, that's a huge part of why I am who I am. I am an advocate. I want to cheer for everybody and I want to hold a sign for everybody. I want to march for everybody. I want to be the person. I'm the mom who's going to hug the people whose moms won't hug them. I want to be there
Oh,
for you if you're in the hospital and you need somebody standing there for you or with you. That's how I was raised.
that's fantastic. What a story. But one question comes to mind. And by the way, share only what you're comfortable with. But do
Okay.
you feel that folks stand for you? Who is the you for you? Do you have a you for you?
My mom, 100%,
Fantastic.
always. I do. I think my daughters, I've raised them to be just the same. They're probably louder, which I don't know how that happened. I have a granddaughter who's due any day, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if the world's ready for this.
Oh,
Another female.
wow. That's wonderful. You're going to get congratulated in our little community.
Oh, that'll be awesome. I don't ever expect anybody to, but I'm so excited. But then again, we're bringing another female into the world.
Yes.
And so I have reservations about what her future is going to hold and what she can do for our future, both.
That's really important. And this is yet another illustration of why I really like your voice, the way you express yourself, because both of those things are important.
They are.
What's going to happen with her and for her, and how she's going to happen to others. And I think people have a tendency maybe to forget the second part.
We all can't just sit in our victim and continue to wear it. We can't. And if I can't do anything, then let me teach somebody else to do that. Or let me open a pathway, even if I don't have the knowledge, let somebody else know that they are equipped and they're strong enough and they can do this and they can go and get that knowledge and take that power. And that's, I think, the most important thing right now is we're such a scared society and
You
nobody wants
said
to
a
stand up
word.
and own that power. Nobody wants to. I had a conversation with a coworker today, and it's just, and that's all that the conclusion that everything just kept coming back to is just, why is everybody so scared? What is so scary about the current administration that we can't stand up to them as a whole and take this back? I'm not, There's a couple of bullies out there. And one bully on the school part or on the playground, everybody's scared. But that one bully, everybody gangs up and that bully's nothing. And I think that's I hate to put it in grade school terms,
Why
but we're
not?
dealing with a
We're
bully,
dealing
you
with a
know,
bunch
and
of non-matured kids.
absolutely. And I just really want us all to feel more comfortable in standing up and owning our power.
So good. I want to ask you something, actually. It's a little off script, but let's see. So I'm contemplating, I'm very active in our community, but also in trying to change things back home in the States because I got the distance privilege and I may as well try to use it. But I'm contemplating therapy. And I wondered if you don't feel mind sharing, have you had any experience, any tips you can give me about the experience? If so,
Therapy.
oh, that was heavy.
It is heavy. I've been in therapy off and on my whole life. That the whole thing in that when I was a kid, we had to be in therapy, my sister and I, for court purposes. But my mom really believes in that. Part of why I am who I am. My mom didn't, she stopped taking me to therapy, started taking me to mediums. So the therapy that
Really?
I seek these days, and this is personal choice, but that I seek these days is more of a spiritual. I prefer sound baths and meditation, breath work.
Oh,
Those are where I can find therapy.
I'm curious because I've never really had the experience on any long-term basis, and I was just wondering, somebody with your background, what would you, what would
Have
be
you
your
been to a sound bath or any kind of?
only seen them online? There's something in Japan that has a little bit potentially of the same kind of resonance, which is, I don't do it regularly, but in the temples, various temples here,
Mhm.
bells are used quite a bit. And I know I always feel my shoulders go, which are usually like this, go down. So and I have a singing bowl, but it's very
Okay.
dusty because I don't use it.
Right.
I'm not very consistent about anything that's good for me,
I'm
which
not
is
either.
really, what
No,
is wrong with us
I
anyway?
don't know. It's because I take care of other people and I don't take care of myself.
You got to take care of yourself and you got to not listen to me. Don't do as I say do.
It's true though. I should probably be in therapy consistently once a week. I know this about myself. I also don't want to own my bullshit. I don't want to do it. I'm not there yet. Don't want to do
And that's
it.
a-okay. Because, it's easy for someone outside of us to look at whatever our behavior is and make assessments. But nobody lives inside of you. So how can someone really make accurate assessments without living with you, being there all the time and talking it through? And I think it's fine if you don't want to do it. You have experience and you're doing it in a different way. You still
Yeah.
are looking at the need for some kind of food in that area. I think that's absolutely fine.
I'll come out of any of the spiritual experiences that I've chosen because there's different ones, depends on what's being offered at the time or
Right.
and I'll feel lighter. I'll feel like my head is clearer. I
Wow.
come out of therapy and I'm heavy and I'm wet from tears and snot and I've talked about things that I would prefer to just not talk about. And at the sound bath, I'm laying there in silence and I'm in my moment and it's just so much more peaceful. It's how do I want to feel after? And so I guess my advice for you is how do you want to feel after you've had whatever therapy session you have chose to have?
That's a really good point. I wasn't thinking of that at all. I was just mainly thinking it's because my psychiatrist who prescribes the drugs said, given that this has been problematic for years, he made the suggestion it might be a good idea to do some talk therapy. Here is my question to you then, given everything you've told me. Do you feel that that type of healing, meaning knowing what works for you based on what you want to feel after, isn't that at some level analogous to what our whole American culture kind of needs to go through? Because that's what hit me. We don't want to do the work. And when I say we, I mean, I mainly mean the white mainstream to start, because that's the group, that's the biggest group of people. It's not like the Black American community has everything's footloose and fancy free either. We need to go as a culture through serious snot and tears and all that.
Yeah,
And then somebody needs to bring the healing bath, the sound bath. But I worry about whether we can get enough people to acknowledge the need. What's your thought about that?
I don't think we're ever going to have that solid collective that we hope for. I just don't think that it's ever going to happen. And that breaks my heart and it hurts my
Really?
soul at the same time. I just don't think we are so divided and we have been being divided by all the parties. I'm not just going to say Democrats and Republicans. Let's get real here. There are several different parties out there and they're all going to strike some kind of division. Not everybody's going to agree with everything all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just that natural divide. And I could hope for it. I know that only 75 million and 74 million or whatever votes were counted. You know what I mean? Not even half the country came out to the polls. I don't know how to even get that other half of the country to care. How do you care? How do you get someone to care? I put out on Facebook all the time in my little town. We have about 35,000 people here.
Wow.
Every voting day, I will give rides. I'll call off. I will leave work just to give rides to the voting booth. I don't care who you vote for. I do, but I don't care who you vote. Take you to the voting booth.
Yes.
I took my daughter, my oldest daughter, her friend, my middle daughter, my youngest daughter, her friend, even though they couldn't vote. And I took them all. And I said, you're coming with me. We all wore white, voted for Hillary. It was great. Those are the things that I wish were more important to other families. Like voting to me is a rite of passage in my family. I think it's great. I'm very proud to wear my I voted sticker.
Yes, same,
But
same.
there's families that, like my spouse, we've been together for 18 years off and on. We like to play games when we get bored. And his family's not that family. They don't care about voting. They don't, it's not an issue to them. Government politics, non-issue. I had to explain to him the other day about how 50 years ago I couldn't have a credit card. How I am a unicorn because I've never been married. My name matches my birth certificate.
Wow.
I'm a unicorn. There's not a lot of women my age that can say that.
It's
And
very true.
so I think if more families, if we were taught, I don't remember learning about voting in school. Do you?
Yeah,
I
but
think,
remember, I went to school probably the decade before you,
right.
and I went to public school. And it wasn't that it was pushed, but also
Mm-hmm.
growing up in the Black community, my parents took me to the big school with the big kachang machines. And it was not a holiday exactly, but it was a civic duty. And there was a
Right.
sense of civic duty. Yeah.
But I also feel your generation, it was more important and the country was more together when it came. I guarantee you, not less than half the country voted in your generation. More people came out to vote.
I'm
I think it
thinking
was
it
more
must be.
important.
It's worth the research for sure. And actually, I might just do that. But I'm 67. And I remember from elementary school, young elementary school on, just being aware that, okay, this is a time when we go and vote and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
However, I must say that I stopped voting when I was in my mid 20s. I was living in a financial commune for quite a while in the East Village. And their view was extreme left to the point where it makes no difference. Everybody's the same, all the parties are the same, blah, 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 whatever. And so I went along with it. And now I wish I hadn't, to be honest. I didn't actually start getting active again until I moved here 28 years ago. And I ended up writing a book about George W. Bush's malapropisms to try to like, when he says these crazy things, this is what he really means. And this is the actual history of just ridiculous stuff. And I was so on fire thinking, as an American, I have this awesome responsibility because I have the ability to vote. And what nonsense we do, it goes everywhere. We get a cold, everybody else gets tuberculosis. So presumably, I have a responsibility. And so I really started finally picking up the ball. But anyway, I really love, I both am upset to hear that you think we'll never get there, but I love the fact that you still do the actions. You still take the action.
Oh, absolutely. Whether I think that we will never get there or not, and if we do, are two different things. I'm seeing things through smoky colored glasses, not through rose colored glasses right now. Like they're very blurry and smudged up because I cannot see our way out of this right now. I can't. The Unfuck America tour, did you see what a
I
shit
didn't,
show that turned
I
into?
don't know what's going on. I'm seeing so many different
I'm like, if
bits
we
and
can't
pieces.
get together,
Yeah.
if one group of our future, because they're all 20-year-olds,
They're all 20-year-olds. Yeah.
okay, if
Yeah.
our future can't get
Yeah.
together for a day and not fight, I don't understand what's going on with it. I was so proud of that, of the two. I was like, you go, you kids, you get out there, all of you guys, Santana, all of it. I think Santana was the oldest. That's why I had to say his name.
Yeah. And he's a
Um,
very mature young man. So,
and
yeah,
I don't see him involving himself. Like it all just,
it
so I'm like,
devolved.
look,
I
if
don't
we got
know.
people to listen to us, we cannot continue these bickering, stupid little picky fights.
We can't. And I
We've got
think,
this
I
schoolyard bully already.
exactly, schoolyard. That's what you said.
Yeah.
It's just, but I, not in opposition to what you're saying, but to add to what you're saying, this is why when the younger folks castigate the Democratic Party, and I'm a Dem, I am a Dem, I'm a progressive pragmatist more than anything. But okay, okay, the Democratic Party is terrible. Fine. You go and make something of yourself. And this is what I want to say to them is this is the Democratic Party too. This is what they're, how do I put it? What they are suffering from are the same things that the Dems suffer from, which is that there's this weird lack of a cohesive narrative that everybody puts down their swords and everybody gets behind. Now, in the evangelicals and the Republicans who take advantage of them, it's the church, right? I think that's accurate. Does that sound accurate?
That makes absolute sense. And I never really thought of it like that. They have that sticky, icky, churchy glue that's holding them
Oh,
all together. And
exactly.
and what do we have? We don't have anything. We don't have our shield to hide behind. We're
No.
all out there individually with our Care Bear stares,
Yes.
just trying to get the world back straight. But it's
Yes.
still, we're all individuals. We are not a collective.
Yes. Yes.
The screwed up thing is the maggots they are solid.
They're
Yeah.
solid.
Mm.
They say the same things. They
Yep.
repeat the same nonsense. They, when GT has them on, it's obvious. It's evidence. They're all saying the same thing. You go to Santana's, same thing. In real life, same thing. So there's a, I'm not saying drink the Kool-Aid because I think that's a terrible story, but there's a, that glue does not merge our disparate groups. So I think, so I'm going to make my first YouTube post and I'm going to put parts of it on TikTok today. And there's two people that I'm going to highlight that are talking about the need for, when I say white supremacy, people of every color who have this problem, who have this thinking, how it managed to destroy even the original British pagans. I mean, that thinking destroyed their culture too. And the Irish this poison is hurts every actually.
It
So
does. And it digs so deep into their being. It's ingrained in them now.
exactly.
And they all have the
Exactly.
same talking points.
Yes.
But then they come back and they're like, you guys all have the same talking points too. And it's like, well, we do,
I
because
wish we did.
they're the same answers to the same stupid things that you continue to say. We can't answer
Exactly.
differently every time,
We're
because,
telling the truth of what reality is.
and that's the thing, is there's such a
Yes.
huge truth and lie, truth and lie.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
can't, I don't know
Yes.
who wrote it. It's just a short little poem, The Truth and the Lie. When the truth meets the lie, you can Google it. It's very powerful. I think every time I come across it, I read it and I'm just like, man, that's just dead on. And it's just so sad today that lies are what fuels America right now. I saw the shipping ports up in Seattle. I'm from I lived up in Ketchikan, Alaska for a very long time.
Wow.
No shipping, no cargo. Are you kidding me? What's happening here? I ordered some pants last night. I'm like, am I going to get them? No. Where are we at right now? They're pulling all major. We don't have anywhere to shop in my town. We have Walmart. They pull everything, and they're like, so I feel like corporate America is eating everything. So then we will be stuck with this oligarchy, right? And we're not going to have any other choices. There's that movie, what is it, The Fifth Element or whatever, and Taco Bell's like the massive restaurant through
Right.
and we're all like, Taco Bell? Yeah, I get it now. I get it. Are we all going to shop at Walmart in the future, and that's going to be the only store left? Because everything,
It's all one world shopping. I agree with you in everything you're saying, but I choose serendipity. And it is a choice. I may be
right.
completely deluded, but I choose to believe that just like I could never have predicted the good part of the internet, because everybody's, oh, it's terrible, but the internet is why we're able to do this podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we pinpoint the stuff that works and get our disparate, fighting, intelligent, the Care Bears, single Care Bears, how do we get the Care Bears, we who are women, I believe, I will go so far as to say older women are women of wisdom, and they don't necessarily want to listen to us, but I think they're going to get desperate. And I don't want them to be desperate. I want even the MAGAs to be okay and have health care and all that stuff, because a healthy society is a better society to live in. It's completely selfish. We
Absolutely.
don't want to live in a society where people are in wretched shape, because that harshes my mellow. I would prefer to live in a society where the basics are all taken care of at whatever reasonable level there is. People want to do more? Sure. But there's no hungry kids, there's no hungry elders. Of course, I want to live in that society. I want to be left alone, and I want to do what I want to do. I'm a profoundly selfish person. And so, given that, I want everybody else to be fine. So I don't have to worry about that.
I think you're right on. I
You
do.
know?
I think you're right. We've had enough of the older men. We've seen what can happen. Given it our shot for 200 and how many years now?
Oh,
We're
more than
good.
that. More than that. Okay, kids, you guys sit back, relax,
Yep.
and let us fix what you've screwed up, and then watch and learn. And that's
Right.
going to be hard for a lot of them. Watch and learn.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you for watching and listening. You can subscribe to WhyRUU on YouTube at Tokyo Terri, or look for WhyRUU wherever you get your podcasts.